From 9 to 5 to monetized. A lot of people dream of going from doing the same matrix routine that they have every day to being free, starting their own business, freelancing, or starting their own channel where they can monetize their talents or just monetize even their personality. Today, I got the perfect example. It's my guy A3. I've been working with A3, filming his music videos for over 10 years now. But see, now he went from just being an artist, well, not just being an artist. My guy's always been multi-talented. He's been painting and drawing, doing graffiti, been doing shows and putting out fire mixtapes and albums as an artist and investing in himself. But now he also has a YouTube channel that's monetized. He has a podcast where he interviews battle rappers and many more. So with that being said, I want you guys to really soak in the gems that I'm about to get on this channel right now. If you are looking to go from the normal matrix routine and breaking out of that, here's some inspiration. I'm going to interview my guy A3 right here. Tap in. All right, we got A3 on the line. Let him know who it is. A3.
Good, man. It's your boy A3 out of Long Island, man. What's the word, man?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Now, as an artist, we've worked together. You know, I was shooting your videos from even a decade ago. And, you know, ever since then, we built upon that relationship as you continue to grow. You know, you had me come back after I moved to LA. I went out there to shoot with you. And it's always been a pleasure, man. And you're one of the most professional artists I've worked with. And when I say professional, I mean a man of his word. You plan out things, it goes as planned, and even if it doesn't go as planned, you always have like a plan B. And I really respect that about you, man. And I feel like you're a great example of how it's not just about the talent, but it's having the business mind, it's having the hard work ready to go. So there's a lot we could touch on, but what I really want to touch on is not just the artistry, but how you also pivoted into the content era with your own podcast. And so let's get into that. You have a YouTube channel after being an artist, doing the 9 to 5 flow. What made you want to switch into doing the podcast lane?
To be honest with you, you know this, you know, we have conversations all the time.
Yeah.
But I was about to stop the music. I was about to stop the dream. But I think the reality was, I don't, you know, it's not that I don't, you know, there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, nothing wrong with working, but it's just something about the dream that just makes it worth living. So, you know what I'm saying? I just can't describe it, but I think what motivated me is just to find something different, because, you know, it's about finding different lanes, you know what I mean? Because everybody wants to be an artist. Everybody wants to have that type of dream. But I just felt like, you know what? There's a lot of things that I want to talk about. A lot of people that, you know, a lot of rooms I want to enter, I may not have the access to. But if I'm able to create a platform that could be interesting. So I just kind of tried it out, you know?
Absolutely. In terms of starting a podcast. So were you looking for a certain freedom? Working a 9 to 5 job and doing the artistry. Did you look at like doing the podcast lane as, you know what? This is a good way I could communicate to people, and because, you know, we're in the content era, bro. You see a lot of people getting more bags off streaming than even music sometimes.
Right. Yeah, that's a fact. And you know what I realized too? Like, for example, like a Cardi B, a lot of people are gravitated towards people's personality. And I feel like I'm such an introverted, quiet person. I felt like that could also be a way to show people who I am, my personality. And also, you know, like I said, to communicate, because really I'm just a fan of this stuff. I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of both sides of the lenses. Like, I want to, you know, pick at people's brains. You know what I'm saying? So that it kind of started off like, oh, this would be cool. But then it was like, oh, no, this is still content. This is still something that could promote everything that I'm doing, you know?
Absolutely.
So, you know, yeah.
So you would say in this new day and age, right, for other artists who are looking, whether it's a painter or a rapper or someone who does something not as creative, even somebody who works with their hands, if they have their own pursuit of business or that they're doing or whatever, Would you recommend that they all have a YouTube channel as well to catapult what they're doing? Or would you say that's really for those who have a different level of dedication?
I feel like if you look at these churches, you look at anything, right? You look at a food business. Every business is utilizing social media. So I feel like no matter what you're doing, it's going to help promote it. Like I seen just the other day driving, I seen a church promote a YouTube channel. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's crazy, but that's the times that we're in. It's like it's more so about like what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, like freedom, like your individual freedom. Like everybody can do it. That's the easiest thing. My mother's on TikTok, like but I guess to answer your question, everybody. I wouldn't say YouTube per se, but I would say social media for sure. Everybody's just going to have a different lane, but that can help anybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Exposure is exposure. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Okay, so take me back to the exact moment you got that monetization email. What hit you first? Was it disbelief, validation, or was it something else that you felt? That's a
There's a
milestone
little
right
bit
there.
of a little bit of all of that. There's a little bit of all of that because it was kind of unexpected. Like I said, this was something I kind of just started for fun. Of course, the realization of the situation. I wanted to stop, but then I just this kind of kept me going because it just kind of happened out of nowhere. Because it's like this, put like this. It's one of those things. I'll give you a perfect example. Like I know you love Wiz Khalifa, right?
Yeah.
Like I just saw a podcast recently where he said it took him 20 mixtapes for him to even get his moment. So that spoke volumes to me because I'm like, I was about to stop. I only have 4 projects out.
Mm.
So I'm like a baby in this. But that just had me thinking, of course, I shouldn't be thinking like that. My moment shouldn't have me, okay, now I'm ready to go. No, it's like you never know when your time is. So you just got to keep going. So, like, when that hit me, when, I got the email, like, you can monetize your channel, I was just, like, in disbelief, like, yo, that's crazy. And that just kind of sparked it. And it was like the moment, and the moment I had a moment with the rapper Jay Mills. He has a situation with a couple battle rappers where they're dissing each other. But that was the video that kind of sparked everything. But that had me like, wow, like, now it's like other people are reaching out. Now it's like, oh, I got to keep this going. This is not a one-time thing. A dream, any dream, you got to just keep going. But that's what really sparked me when I was like, wow, like, just, I guess the validation made me feel good too. Like, okay, this is in black and white. I can monetize my channel. So this is, but that just let me know, like, you could start from anywhere and you could literally do it. You know what I'm saying? And I
Absolutely.
think anybody can do it.
Now,
Hopefully I answered your question, but
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because as a YouTube channel, I mean, sorry, when someone starts a YouTube channel, they know one day they're gonna get monetized, but they know that they can't tell when it's happening. They don't know when it's coming, but you just got to keep going. One foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, one brick at a time, right? But when you
right.
actually see, I'm not there yet, but when you see that validation of like you've officially been monetized, bro, that's like in this day and age, that's damn near better than a graduation, bro. A graduation of college. It's like when you see like you got your diploma, that's more so like fulfillment. Okay, I got my diploma. Unless, of course, you're like in law or you're in some kind of medical thing, whatever. That's more like guaranteed, I would say. But having a monetization on your YouTube channel and you know you got what it takes, that's more so like it's time to go. So I can
Yeah.
I can imagine what that feels like, and I think that's really inspiring for the listeners of this show to hear that it's not just celebrities who could go get a monetization. You can do it if you really stick to what you're doing. And if you thought about quitting, this is a reason to keep going. You guys just heard A3 say he was thinking about just not doing any of this stuff just a year ago. And now look where he's at. So let me ask you another question. What about the 9 to 5 life pushed you to pursue freelancing or YouTubing, we could say, the most?
I would say not doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? Being where I want to, being somewhere I don't want to be. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's something about just feeling constricted, feeling like you can't. Do what you want to do. Like, I have to do this right now. I have to do this to get XYZ. When it's like there's no benefit, even, and I'm not making crazy money. This just happened to me, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's just the fact. Even if it's $20, bro, just the fact that I'm doing what I want to do. That's a freedom you can't describe. That's like, if I can only imagine if I make even what I make with my 9 to 5, because I still have my 9 to 5. But if I'm able to make that off of YouTube, that's successful to me. That's a freedom. You know what I mean? Like that's a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing.
No, I totally agree, man. There's no minimum that's not an accomplishment, bro. Even if you made 25 cents, bro, that just shows that you're on the right path. The way I
Yeah.
look at it is, even when I moved to LA, I remember thinking, damn, what if it doesn't work out right away? What if this doesn't happen? And I remember I was always thinking, I got to get there. You got to get there first. Once you're there, things are going to go up and down, but you're there. You're
Yeah.
there. So you with the monetization, you're there. And all you got to do is keep building. And I think that's very inspirational, man. So what was the moment you came closest to quitting, like the exact moment, and what stopped you from completely walking away? And at this point, we're talking about you as an artist, but yeah, because the YouTube thing is newer. So let's say you as an artist, because I feel like that's what
Mhm.
really catapulted everything. What was the
Yeah.
exact moment that you came the closest to just quitting?
I think, you know what I think, and I'm going to be honest. I'm very. I talk a lot about my personal life, but I
Mm.
think it's just, just dealing with the regular life, because there's a lot of things that people may want to do that may not seem realistic to the next person. Like me saying, "Oh, I want to be a rapper." If I'm dating somebody with, just negative energy that may not necessarily see that vision, that person may be like, you know what are we doing? What are you doing here? Like, you want to be a rapper? They may laugh in your face,
That that
literally.
that, that ever
So
happened
it's
to you?
like, yeah, that that was my last relationship, man. So it's
Oh
like,
shit!
it's like, okay, yeah, this is literally, listen, no disrespect to nobody, but
Right.
I think it's important to protect your dream and your energy. And sometimes it's to the point where, honestly, I don't talk to anybody about it unless I'm talking to somebody that is a fellow dreamer, because they understand. Because this world is not going to always understand. And that's even with your family, your girl, your whoever. The closest people to you may not see it. So that's the thing I think people need to take from this is it's important that you protect your dream and your image, because nobody may not see it. Nobody thought that Cardi B was going to be what she's going to be. Nobody thought that once Jordan got kicked from the team, he was going to be Michael Jordan. Nobody thought a plane would be flying in the air. But
Mm.
sometimes you got to protect that and just show people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what kept me going is the L's that I took. The hard, just life, bro. You know how it is being a man or being a woman. Like, you got to take care of what you have to take care of, but at the same time, there's a lot of energy and people out there that'll try to, you know,
So
take that away.
I
And it's
think
like you
that
got to protect it.
this is a very important moment for all freelancers to delve into right now. He just said his previous relationship was casting so much negative energy onto him. Now, I'm sure that alone, you tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure there's probably more to it than that, because as artists, we're kind of not gonna let somebody, like one person, steer you off.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you
Right.
already had doubts in your head and you have a negative partner or negative friends in your ear, that could be
Mm-hmm.
enough to just break the camel's back, would you say?
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, bro. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the individual, because you cannot allow yourself to keep thinking those negative thoughts. You have to be strong mentally to do any type of freelance stuff, any type of dream, whatever. You have to be mentally ready for it. You know what I'm saying? You have to, because that one, all it takes is that, because it'll be like this. Like, for me, it was like a bunch of things built up. Because, like I said, it was just life in general. Because if you have a little bit of doubt, you've been doing, I've been rapping for so long. It's like, you can't. And another thing is, you can't look at what other people do. I can't look at Little Bow Wow and be like, damn, I should have been on since I was that. No, everybody has a different time, a different lane, a different. You're not on the same time as anybody else.
Right.
You just have to focus on, like, if you're at the gym. Work on your form and work on one exercise at a time and focus on that. Obviously you have to take care of everything else. You got to do your homework. You got to, take care of the bills, but you got to take it one step at a time because you look too far ahead, like that'll affect you, so it's about the individual. I think I was mentally being weak, and I think I had to get a couple hits to be like, hold up, I got to take control of this situation. I got to do what I got to do and keep it going if I want to do it. You know.
Absolutely. So, for the freelancers out there who are thinking about starting a business or starting a YouTube channel or any kind of free way of making money, right? Free in the sense of freedom, not free in the sense of money. But um, what would you say are the exact signs that they have somebody negative? Like, what should they look out for? Like, they're afraid that their partner might not support them or their friends might not support them. What would you say to that person, and what should they like look out for, or what should they expect if they think they have negative people around them?
That's a great question. I wouldn't say everything negative because this, sometimes you have to take constructive criticism, right? But there's just certain energy, like like if you have, let's say you have a significant other, and they're always negative, like always saying, or they're always trying to get you to do something else, or go to a different path, or just do something that you don't want to do, or be somebody you don't want to be. Because that was my situation. It was like, I want you to do this XYZ job instead. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't realistic to the person. But I think if you're with a significant other or you're with your group of people, they don't have to understand what you got going on. They're not you. But I think it's important that they respect it. So to answer you, I would say look out for any type of, somebody always being negative. Like, I try to, like, and I just had this conversation. Even if I'm at a job, if it's too much negative energy, I have to leave because I don't like to be around negative people, negative energy, because that rubs off on you. It rubs off on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing with your dream. If you got your closest people telling you all the time, I don't know, man, you've been doing this for this long, and your girl, your wife, or whoever is telling you, that's the closest people to you. So that's going to affect you in a major way. Even if you say, you know what, I'm good. Even just hearing it can have you thinking a little bit different for a second. And that 1 second could have been your big moment. You know what I'm saying? So that's important, man. I think you gotta, and obviously everybody's not gonna always be positive, but you just want people around you with the right energy. You just gotta look for the type of words people use and body language and all of that.
So,
Because everybody, listen, oh, go ahead. So
no, 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 no. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it, man. No, this is good quality information. I was just gonna ask, man. So what would you recommend that they do? Let's say they have someone who is negative. Would you say go as far as breaking up with that person, even if like, because let's be real. Some people have kids. Some people have like they share in an apartment. They live together. Would you go as far as saying like, yo, break up with that person to pursue your dreams if they feel negative?
I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that because I think a lot of times what we want to do is who we are. You don't want to change who you are for anybody. Even if it's your mother, bro. Even if it's your mom. If my mother tells me, if she gives me the wrong energy, I have to kind of separate myself because you just can't. You can't do it. I would say break up with them. Obviously, there's a lot of situations you might be living with the person, the kids, but at the same time, how would you feel if you're pretending to be somebody you're not? You're at a job 9 to 5 all day, or whatever you do, and you're not happy. That's not good for the kids either, is it?
Right.
So it's like you gotta, that's a big decision. But at the end of the day, let's be realistic. You're not gonna ever be happy if the person you're with is not supporting you in some way. You know what I mean? If they're not supporting it, it don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to love from a distance. That's what people have to do. You have to love people from a distance sometimes. Sometimes you just like I love the J. Cole approach where it's like I forgot what interview it was. But he don't say nothing about his dream. Like he said, his mother didn't even know he rapped until he got on. So
Oh
that's the
wow,
type of vibe.
that's crazy.
Yeah, like you can talk. Like I feel like you should have a group of people where you could talk about it forever. But then when it comes to certain people, if you know I don't want to break up with this person, as long as you take care of what you take care of, they can't say nothing. So I would say get a job. If you have to do a 9 to 5, do that. But always keep that dream in your pocket. That's what you want to do. Because once you on, what they gonna say now? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So you guys soak that in, man. Let me ask you this: what's the scariest thing that comes across your mind as a freelancer or
Mm.
YouTuber, and what do you do to prevent it?
I think the scariest thing is what we're actually talking about is like losing my mental because you're gonna take losses realistically.
Mm,
I think it's important to when you take those losses that there's gonna be good days too. So I think the scariest thing is like losing myself because I know I'm gonna be honest. I'm an emotional person. I think a lot of artists are emotional, no matter what type of art. There's some type of emotion that you're able to connect with other people with. But I think that's my scariest thing is like allowing myself to get to a certain point. You know, because I'm not a weak person, but at the same time, I'm so passionate about what I do. Sometimes I allow other things to affect me. So that's what really scares me the most. But I feel like as long as I can remind myself in the heat of the moment, I'm taking the L right now, but I know that tomorrow's another day. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta take it a day at a time. But that's the scariest thing to me because you're gonna take losses. This is something you're building by yourself. It's much harder than going to another person's company and working. Totally different. It takes a whole different level of work. So that's what it is, man.
that's very interesting right there because, man, you never know what people are going through.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of freelancers have that same issue where they gotta hold it in. There's not many
Yeah.
people that they could talk to that would fully understand. Of course, people understand that they want the best for you, but they might not
Yeah.
really understand the same way that you could tell them. Like if you would have told them, "Hey, man, my boss is an asshole," they can relate to that. But if you tell them, "Hey, man, I'm about to take this crazy risk to pursue my dream, but this is why I want to do it," they might not understand that. But you never know
Yeah.
what people are going through. The craziest thing right
Yeah.
now, you've always been very stoic as long as I've known you. So you telling me this is a surprise to me because I'm not gonna assume everybody's just stoic all the time. I know everybody goes through things and they might not talk about it. But I never knew that like you be going through it like on the emotional level or like even what you said like you had an unsupportive lady who was over there
Mhm.
like giving you a hard time about it. I didn't know any of these things because you've always been like whenever it was time to show up and get it done, you've been real stoic. So this goes to show again, you never know what people are really going through for real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. And I'm thankful though because I think that what I like to do is kind of my therapy. Like when I do the artwork as well. When I did that portrait, I was really depressed.
Wait,
That was
which
right after
portrait?
that relationship. I did a Dragon Ball Z like portrait, not portrait, but a mural
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
for
the mural. Uh huh. Uh huh.
yeah. So I did that, but that was like I needed that. I needed that escape because I was getting such a dark place. I was like, I'm not doing the music. I'm not trying to I'm trying to stop thinking about my ex. I'm trying to get on the right path, but I was in a dark place. But sometimes you need what you love to do to kind of get out of that. And I feel like that's what the music does. That's why a lot of times, and I'll be honest, that's why a lot of my music is dark. But I'm trying to get more positive and happy stuff out because I'm just on a different time mentally, but I needed all of that. I needed that negative. Like, I feel like if I didn't take a loss, I wouldn't learn how to appreciate the win. Like, the moment I'm in now, it's not a crazy win to a lot of people, but it's crazy for me because I've been doing this for so long, and that just says, you know what? Maybe I should keep going. What if I stop? Like I said, I was. I would have never even known I could make money off of YouTube. So
Right.
that, like, yeah. So I would just encourage people to it's okay to take it out. I just encourage you to keep going, no matter what you're going through. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's people like you, when I speak to you and we do that, all of that was therapy, even doing videos with you, because I know that you're doing what you want to do. You're talented at what you do, but you're doing what you want to do on your time. You know what I'm saying? And that's inspiring, man. You inspire a lot of people out here.
I
I just
appreciate
got
you,
to
man.
say that.
I appreciate you a
Yeah.
million percent, bro.
No problem.
Man, it's if it's not for the clients, man, there's no career. So I don't know how these other filmmakers were moving or video directors, but for me when I was doing it, and even now with what I do now, I'm grateful to every client, even the bad ones, the ones who I don't work with anymore. It's like, thank you for the lessons and the experiences, and for the good relationships. I'm always grateful for those. Real talk, man. So um, what advice do you give to anyone who's looking to get monetized on YouTube in anything that they're doing? And one thing I want to add to that is that you
Hmm.
invested in your YouTube channel, but not with ads, not with, you know, the regular stuff. I mean, yeah, you got your equipment, but you invested in getting some talented and known individuals on your platform and it paid off. So
Right.
what advice would you give to people who are starting with nothing and don't have any currency to monetize themselves with, or to put into to invest into themselves? Let me
Hmm.
simplify this. Let me start with the first one. What advice do you give to people who need to invest in themselves and have the means to do it, but feel like, damn, I'm kind of afraid to give my money to somebody else because they might run off or they might not show up or might waste my money? Let's start there.
Mm. Yeah, the way I did it was like I just kind of had an interest in battle rap. So I just kind of honestly, I just wanted conversations with these dudes. Like that's really what it started from. But my advice will be is to whatever your channel, whatever it is, try to find an interesting thing that nobody's doing, or even if everybody's doing, because everybody's doing a podcast now. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But like what I tried to do with mine was make it a tiny bit different. Like for example, I interviewed K Shine. Right, I've seen a lot of K Shine interviews, but I didn't see a lot of interviews where they're talking about his life. So I feel like, yeah, it didn't do a crazy amount of views. But because of that video, the next guest, like Jay Mills, that's why he wanted to go. Oh, he saw K Shine. Oh, maybe I should go on this podcast. So it could be something like that, where it's like something that people aren't doing that you put out there to the world that may spark the interest to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's about being different and also to keep going because you're not going to see the results right away, and it's like these platforms change every so often. It's like one year we're doing hashtags, next year you got to do a bunch of short clips. Like it just keeps changing. So I would say also just kind of keep studying it. You have to keep studying because it's going to keep changing. There's always going to be another platform, so you can't even bank on just one. You got to do everything because you never know what you never know. You may show your personality and pop off on TikTok or something. You just never know.
But what about
Because I
the
feel like this.
oh,
Mhm.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you, but what about the person who is afraid to invest in a special guest, right? Like let's say
Oh,
you
okay.
have a comedy podcast and there's a comedian who is kind of known. Not he's not Kevin Hart, but he's pretty much known in his field, and he might
Yeah.
come on your podcast for like 1,000. If the person has the 1,000 to invest, but they're nervous, what would you say should keep them going? Because we know, let's be real, in this industry, you could have contracts, you could do whatever, you could give a deposit. There's always a chance that somebody might run off with the money, and that scares a lot of people
Yeah.
to death. But it didn't scare
Yeah.
you. You went through with it, and they came through, and it worked
Oh
out.
no,
What
no,
advice
no!
would you
It
give?
scared me. I would say number one, it scared me.
Oh, for real?
Let me tell you a little. I'm not gonna tell you a long story. This is a
Yeah,
quick.
yeah,
I'll keep
yeah.
it
No,
short.
no, feel free.
I interviewed a guy, the smart guy. Smart.
Yeah,
I interviewed Smart, right? He's he's pro-black. He has a lot of those conversations.
yeah.
Long story short, the person that the place where I do the podcast, he told me that it was a guy scamming people, saying that he's Smart's manager, and he basically did it to literally one of the clients at that podcast, took the money and just disappeared. So I was like,
Oh
nah, I'm
shit.
not doing that. So I told the dude like straight up, like, yo, I need you, and this is what I recommend. If you feel like that to that point where you feel like you don't trust them at all, they gotta call you. If they can't call you, the manager, and FaceTime the special guest, then I wouldn't trust it. That's just me personally.
Oh,
You know what
so
I'm
you mean like,
saying?
let's say there's a famous dude named I don't know let's say his name is Sean or something, right? You're
Hmm.
saying I want to see you guys on FaceTime. Put Sean on the FaceTime before I
Hmm.
send the money.
Listen, I did that with Smart. It wasn't FaceTime, but it was a phone call. And I told him straight up. I said, somebody got scammed. I'm not trying to be the second one. Like, so
Yeah,
it's $1,000 may not be a lot to everybody, but it's still money. So
right,
you gotta, if you feel that much, yeah, you gotta find some way to make sure. Because like you said, there's a lot of people scamming out here. That's the new robbing the bank nowadays. Everybody's scamming and hacking. Like, so yeah,
and so
that's what I
he
was doing
actually
too.
called you with Smart on the phone.
Yes, he called me on a three-way call, and I was like, okay, this is smart. This is definitely smart. So
And they
that's why I
didn't
was like,
take
you know
any
what? And he
offense.
was,
They didn't take any offense. They didn't have an attitude about it. Like,
nah,
yo, what's
I
up
think
with
it's just
you?
about the way you word it. Yeah, yeah, nah. He's a hood dude. If you know who he is, like,
Yeah,
he's a real hood. But I think it's the way how you speak to people. Because I was just like, no disrespect, but this is what happened at the studio. And the manager was cool. He said, he said, listen, I'm the real manager. I'll call him right now. Call me in like 5 minutes. And we had the whole conversation. So I would say people should do that or find a way where okay, this is the official. Because you can't always trust an Instagram profile because everybody can be verified nowadays. So
yeah.
it's like, you got to find a way. That's what I have to say.
Wow, that's a good gem right there for anyone who wants to invest in a special guest on their platform. Go the extra mile to call the person, hear their voice, whether it's FaceTime, you can see them, or it's a phone call, you hear their voice. But go that extra mile, and it'll pay off in the long run. And also, just don't be paralyzed by the fear. I guess because you said you were
Right.
scared, but you still went through with it and it worked out.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I would say also, you can even, negotiate. This is not, especially if you're doing an artist or something, like it's not really, it's really on you. So you can say, you know what, if you're doing $1,000, let's say I'll give you a $500 deposit and we do it. Even if you had a contract, I never did a contract, but if I had to, I would, like I would, when I'm doing my murals, that's what I do because sometimes people will be like, no, I want to do X, Y, Z and change things up. Like, no, this is what we're doing. So I would say do a deposit, do half of what you think you can afford, and just in case something happened, you have a contract or you have a verbal agreement right there. Like, nah, this ain't going down. Like, this is what you said. This is how it has to go. Because people play games on here. Let's be honest. People like to play games.
Yeah, you
So
know what's crazy too, and this is a freelance tip on my end, nothing to do with what A3 just said. Crazy thing with me, when I realize contracts don't hold that much weight, is I had a contract with this construction company that I was going to be doing their content on a monthly basis, right? They were the ones that pressed for the contract. Like, make sure you sign this. And part of the contract was if anybody's going to pull the agreement on either side, there has to be like a 7 to 10 day notice in advance or something like that, right?
mm,
And these guys, I don't know if they ran out of money or something happened where they started acting funny. Like they did their first payment, but when it was time for the second one coming up, they didn't follow through, right? And I had this
mm,
contract, and I'm like, yo, these guys just breached the contract right here in my face, right? Stop answering the phone. I knew what their office was, but whatever. Um, the crazy thing is, when I thought about, okay, so now that I have this contract, what comes next? The truth of the matter, not all people, not all, can't speak for everybody, but a lot of freelancers who are starting out don't have the means to get a lawyer and actually go to court, pay the court fees, and really follow through with going to the court and responding and going back and forth. And
right.
when the amount of money that you got jerked out of is only like $1,000 or 1,500,
Mm-hmm.
you might end up spending more pursuing the damn thing. And this is
Right.
what I want to tell people because a lot of people used to get on me about not having contracts with these artists. Oh man, like this dude canceled last minute. Well, did you make him sign the contract? Well, that's what you get for not doing contracts. But the reality of the situation is, I'm sorry to say this, some people gonna have to take a leap of faith. You can do the contract as a
Yeah.
deterrent. It'll deter somebody from wasting your time for sure. But if they do,
Mm.
wouldn't you agree, A, that people gotta kind of like just have a leap of faith spirit in them too?
Definitely, definitely. You got to take that risk. It's gonna come with a risk because you can't trust everybody. But you just gotta risk it, man. You gotta risk it.
And that's where street dudes really see
Hmm.
they bank on going to jail. That's what they do because a lot of street dudes they don't work with contracts. If you play with their
Yeah,
money, they're willing to risk their freedom to even the score. But you see,
that's a fact.
that's not realistic with freelancers on like anybody who's trying to make an honest living. You can't just go around threatening people all day because then you'll have a bigger problem. Now you'll be out
Hmm.
of money and you in cuffs.
Right,
You know,
right.
so so you would agree, right, that they got to have like a certain level of faith.
Definitely have to have a level of faith. And like I said, just do something to make you comfortable. Like if you're paying it, whatever the price is, tell them you'll pay them in person. Like I understand that. Like sending money to somebody you don't know, that's a scary thing. But that's why I say I'll give a deposit, whatever I can afford, long as it's reasonable and face to face. Then you'll get your when you show up and do your job, you get the money. Like,
Right, right.
but yeah. But yeah, I mean, freelance in general is a risk. You gotta have faith. Period. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's what it is.
absolutely, man. That's what it is. Well, hey, A3, I really want to appreciate. I want to say thank you. I really appreciate you coming on the platform, giving some gems. This will be coming out in the next couple of days, so I'm excited, man. I really am. I'm excited for you too. I'm watching your channel. I'm watching the growth.
Oh, definitely appreciate you. And listen, man, I appreciate you more than you know because you inspire me just from doing what you do. Just from you doing what you love to do, and me seeing that is I look at it like, what's my excuse? So I thank you as well from all the years, since 2014, since we first worked together. You've been inspiring me ever since. So definitely will be in tune with your channel as well. And I already know, man. Just don't forget us. Don't forget me, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget us little people out
Oh no, no, man! I'm looking at your channel, man. Man, don't forget me, bro. You on your way, bro. I'm trying to get where you at, bro. Real talk.
here. Nah.
I'm trying to get exactly where you at, man. Now, this is good game for all the freelancers out there. I really want to empower people because you see, this is a lonely game right here, right? As a freelancer, you could get around other freelancers, but it's not like the 9 to 5 life where it's structured to where, like, the 9 to 5 life. After work, everybody goes to the bar, they hang out because everybody knows each other's schedule, so they could go to the bar, they could hang out, blah blah blah. Now, when you're a
Right.
freelancer, you're probably going to be around other freelancers, and everybody's schedule is crazy. You're going to be lonely a lot of times in this game. So I just really want to be that friend through YouTube that people could seek out the content and learn something, or they could feel like they're not alone. In those crazy moments. Um,
Yeah.
so whatever I got to do to make that happen, and soaking in game from people like you definitely helps because you got your perspective. You might have just helped out a whole bunch of people and didn't even realize it, man. So, with that being said, um, tell them where they can find you on the YouTube.
On YouTube, you can look up A3_raps, Instagram, the_real_3, A3. And I just want to say one last thing. I just want to say, man, just watch what Jason's doing and just find your tribe. Find like this conversation we had that y'all listening to. You can actually have conversations like this in real life and just stay positive and do what you want to do. Just and that's it. I don't want to be too long winded, but just find your tribe and keep doing your thing, man. A3 all about progression. Salute to Jason. Thank you for having me. You know, let's get it.
Anytime, man. Let's get to it.